In the shadow of Silicon Valley, across the bay from San Francisco, there exists a world most of us can only dream of. A world where billion-dollar fortunes are built from nothing, where a barefoot farm boy walks miles to school on dirt roads, and decades later, his family name is carved into the walls of America's greatest public university, where technology invented by Filipino hands powers every single computer on Earth. Welcome to the world of the Banatao family, the richest Filipino family in Oakland. But who are these people whose last name adorns research institutes, whose scholarships send Oakland students to engineering programs, whose foundation is literally rebuilding Oakland neighborhoods block by block? What's life really like when your family invented the foundational technology inside every PC, accumulated an estimated $5 billion, and chose to pour that fortune back into the East Bay community? We're counting down the 10 most incredible facts about the Banatao dynasty, from their jaw-dropping Oakland connections to the mind-blowing inventions that made them billionaires. We'll explore the colossal empire patriarch Dado Banatao, built from nothing, examine the lavish lifestyle his success afforded, and reveal how the next generation is carrying the torch right here in Oakland. You'll discover how a Filipino immigrant who couldn't afford shoes became the Bill Gates of the Philippines. You'll learn why Oakland students get priority for $20,000 scholarships bearing his name. You'll see how his son went from UC Berkeley to leading Google's most ambitious moonshot projects. And you'll understand why the research institute named after this family is transforming an entire Oakland neighborhood into a model for climate resilience. This isn't just a story about wealth. It's a story about what happens when extraordinary success meets extraordinary generosity. It's about a family that could have disappeared into the comfort of their $20 million Atherton mansion, but instead chose to leave an indelible mark on Oakland and the Filipino-American community. Stick around to see the number one spot, the single most important way the Banatao family changed Oakland forever. The legacy we're about to reveal is truly mind-boggling. Let's begin the countdown. Kicking off our list at number 10 is something happening right now in East Oakland that most people have never heard of. On a single residential block, 14 homeowners representing 25 units are participating in one of the most ambitious urban experiments in American history. It's called the Oakland Eco Block, and it's being led by researchers from the California Institute for Energy and Environment, which operates under Citrus and the Banatao Institute at UC Berkeley. This isn't some abstract research project happening in a laboratory. This is real families in a real Oakland neighborhood, co-owning their own solar panels, sharing battery storage, charging electric vehicles together, and recycling gray water for irrigation. The project was named one of 22 microgrid projects to watch by Microgrid Knowledge, and it's expected to be completed in 2026 as a model that could be replicated across California and beyond. But here's what makes this deeply personal. The Eco Block team officially celebrates Filipino-American History Month. The research institute funding this transformation bears the name of a Filipino family, and the climate action grants supporting this work flow through the Banatao Institute, connecting one immigrant family's fortune directly to the transformation of working-class Oakland neighborhoods. When these homeowners flip on their lights during a power outage, when they breathe cleaner indoor air, when they pay lower utility bills, they're benefiting from a legacy that started half a world away in the rice paddies of the Philippines. The Eco Block is proof that the Banatao family didn't just accumulate wealth. They invested it in Oakland's future. But before we can understand why a Filipino family would pour resources into rebuilding Oakland neighborhoods, we need to understand where this incredible fortune came from. Coming in at number 9 is something you use every single day without even knowing it. Because a Filipino immigrant invented two of the foundational technologies inside every personal computer on Earth. His name was Diosdado Banatao, though everyone called him Dado. Born on May 23, 1946 in the remote village of Malabac in Iguig, Cagayan Province, he was the son of a rice farmer named Salvador and a housekeeper named Rosita. The family had nothing, no electricity, no running water. And young Dado walked barefoot on dirt roads just to reach his elementary school. But his father believed education was the only way out of poverty, and that belief would change the world. Dado graduated cum laude from Mapua Institute of Technology in Manila, then earned his master's degree in electrical engineering from Stanford University in 1972. He even joined the legendary Homebrew Computer Club, where he met Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak before anyone knew who they were. And then Dado started inventing. In 1981, while working at Civic Technology, he developed the first 10-megabit Ethernet CMOS chip with silicon coupler data link control and transceiver. This was foundational technology that would eventually connect the world through the internet. But his most important inventions came next. Dado created the first system logic chipset compatible with IBM's PCXT and PCAT computers. Before his invention, building a personal computer required multiple expensive components from different manufacturers. After his invention, all those functions could be consolidated onto fewer chips, dramatically reducing costs and making personal computers affordable for average families. He also developed one of the first graphical user interface accelerators, the technology that made Windows possible. These two innovations, the PC chipset and the graphics accelerator, are still foundational technologies found in every personal computer manufactured today. Billions of devices worldwide contain technology that Dado Banatao invented. Without him, the personal computer revolution might never have happened. The barefoot farm boy from Cagayan Valley had changed the world. But Dado didn't just invent technology, he built companies. And those companies would generate a fortune that most people cannot even comprehend. At number 8, we reveal just how massive the Banatao empire became. In 1984, Dado co-founded his first company, Mostron, with a starting capital of $500,000. It manufactured motherboards, giving him his first taste of entrepreneurship. But it was his second company that made him a legend. In 1985, he co-founded Chips and Technologies with Gordon Campbell, and together they developed the chipsets that made IBM-compatible personal computers possible. The company became a dominant force in the industry, and when Intel acquired it, the deal was worth approximately $300 million. Dado wasn't finished. In 1989, he launched S3 Graphics in Santa Clara, California, developing GUI accelerators that enhanced Windows performance. The company went public, raising $30 million, and by 1996, S3 was the market leader in graphics acceleration, beating out their fierce competitor, Cirrus Logic. He later sold another company with fewer than 20 employees for more than $1 billion. He was also part of SciRF Technology, one of the first companies to commercialize GPS after the United States government declassified it. By 2000, Dado had enough capital to start his own venture firm. He founded Tallwood Venture Capital with $300 million of his own money, focusing on semiconductor technology solutions for computing, communication, and consumer platforms. His investments multiplied his fortune even further. According to SEC filings tracked by Guru Focus, Dado held approximately 9.95 million shares of Marvell Technology, worth over $927 million as of January for 2026. Multiple Filipino publications estimate his total net worth at $5 billion. He lived in a $20 million mansion in Atherton, California, and owned multiple private aircraft. The Philippine Sentinel described him simply as a Filipino with a $5 billion fortune who was never mentioned by Forbes. He had become one of the richest Filipinos who ever lived. But what good is a fortune if you don't use it to help others? The Banatao family didn't just accumulate wealth, they gave it away. And they gave special priority to one place in particular. At number 7 is a scholarship program that has quietly changed thousands of Filipino-American lives over the past 2 decades. It's called the Banatao Family Filipino-American Education Fund, and it was established in 2002 through the Asian Pacific Fund by Dado and Maria Banatao with a singular purpose: to help California high school students of Filipino heritage pursue careers in science and engineering, fields where Filipinos have historically been underrepresented. The scholarship awards $5,000 per year, and here's what makes it extraordinary. It's renewable for up to 4 years, meaning a single student could receive $20,000 to pursue their dreams. Recipients must be at least 50% Filipino, maintain a minimum 3.0 grade point average, and commit to studying engineering, mathematics, computer science, environmental science, or physical science. But there's one detail that most people don't know, a detail that connects this billion-dollar family directly to Oakland. The scholarship explicitly gives preference to students from Oakland. It also prioritizes students from Daly City, San Bruno, Union City, Richmond, Hercules, and Pinole. The fund covers all of Alameda County where Oakland sits, along with Contra Costa County and dozens of other northern and southern California counties. But Oakland is specifically named. When Dado Banatao was asked why he created this fund, his answer revealed everything about his character. He said that he and Maria hoped it would inspire students to dream big and to make the sacrifices needed to continue their education so they could fully contribute to society and make their dreams a reality. Having grown up in a rural area of the Philippines, he explained, his background made him passionate about education. Because he knew how education could transform lives, it transformed his. Maria echoed this sentiment, saying that setting up a scholarship program gave them a chance to use philanthropy to pass on their family values. And those values have reached hundreds of Filipino-American students since 2002. The fund maintains an active alumni network that mentors current scholars, holding annual sessions where successful graduates guide the next generation. One scholarship recipient captured what this support means in deeply personal terms. They explained that thanks to the financial assistance, they had a safety net that gave them the time and confidence to focus on opportunities rather than constantly worrying about money. Opportunities, they said, that many others take for granted. The scholarship allowed them to stand on equal footing with their peers, providing not just financial security, but also the communal and professional support of the Banatao family and foundation. It was a boost like no other, one that empowered them to learn, grow, and proudly represent Filipino excellence. That's the ripple effect of one family's generosity. Oakland students who might never have afforded engineering school are now working at Google, Apple, Meta, and the nation's leading biotech companies. The barefoot farm boy who couldn't afford shoes made sure the next generation would never face the same barriers. But scholarships are administered quietly, behind the scenes. The Banatao name isn't just on checks sent to students. It's literally carved into the walls of the greatest public university in America. At number 6, we reveal the research institute that bears their name, located just 2.5 miles from downtown Oakland. In 2001, the state of California created the Center for Information Technology Research in the Interest of Society, known as RICHEST, as part of Governor Gray Davis's Institutes for Science and Innovation. The mission was ambitious: shorten the pipeline between world-class laboratory research and real-world applications that could benefit society. CIDRIS brought together 4 University of California campuses: Berkeley, Davis, Merced, and Santa Cruz, creating a collaborative powerhouse focused on climate resilience, health, intelligent infrastructure, transportation, and public policy. Over the years, the Institute has launched more than 70 high-tech startup ventures. It houses the Berkeley Marvel Nanofabrication Lab, with over 15,000 square feet of cleanroom space serving hundreds of researchers annually. The Citrus Invention Lab became the first tech maker space on the UC Berkeley campus when it opened in 2012. But in 2016, something remarkable happened. The institute was officially renamed CITRIS and the Bonatow Institute, honoring the family whose early cornerstone commitment and ongoing leadership had made so much of this work possible. The headquarters sit at 330 Sutarja Dai Hall on the UC Berkeley campus, a location that matters deeply to our story, because Berkeley and Oakland share more than a border. They share an identity, the East Bay, the same BART lines, the same community. Downtown Oakland is less than 3 miles away. Dato served on the CITRIS Advisory Board and the Berkeley Engineering Advisory Board until his passing. Maria remains a UC Berkeley Foundation trustee, and all 3 of their children, Ray, Desi, and Tala, are UC Berkeley graduates. Ray Bonatow currently serves on the CITRIS Advisory Board, ensuring the family's vision continues to guide the Institute's direction. On October 24, 2024, the building that bears their name hosted a gathering that captured everything the Bonatow legacy represents. The PH Time Is Now 2024 Summit brought together global Filipino trailblazers and future leaders under the theme Building Bridges, Connecting Communities. The event was emceed by Emmy-nominated NBC News Bay area journalist Ginger Conegero Saab and featured a powerful conversation with Maria Bonatow alongside 2 of her children, Ray and Tala. The academic building of the #1 public university in the world had become the setting for an event dedicated to building and connecting global Filipino changemakers, mentors, and trailblazers with the next generation of leaders. We're only halfway through our list, and the Bonatow legacy is already staggering. From rebuilding Oakland neighborhoods, to funding student dreams, to having their name on UC Berkeley's walls, this family's impact is simply on another level. What do you think about their Oakland connection so far? Let us know in the comments which part of their story fascinates you most. And if you're enjoying this look into Filipino-American excellence, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss who's in our top 5. The achievements and the heartbreak we're about to reveal will change how you see this family forever. Now, back to the countdown. Breaking into our top 5 is the woman behind the legend, the partner who stood beside Dato Bonatow for more than 50 years and who continues to carry the family's mission forward today. Her name is Maria Bonatow, and without her, none of what we've discussed would exist. Maria was born Maria Cariaga in the Philippines, and her path to America led her to the University of Washington, where she pursued a master's degree in educational psychology. It was there, through mutual friends, that she met a young Filipino engineer who was designing components for the Boeing 747 while taking continuing education courses. His name was Dato, and he had just been accepted into Stanford's graduate program. Maria followed him to California, and they married in 1972, beginning a partnership that would last 53 years and produce 3 children who would all graduate from UC Berkeley. But Maria was never content to simply be the wife of a successful man. She became the co-architect of everything the Bonatow family built, bringing her background in educational psychology to bear on their philanthropic vision. She serves as a trustee of the UC Berkeley Foundation, helping guide one of the world's greatest public universities. She sits on the board of the Lucille Packard Foundation for Children's Health, supporting pediatric research and healthcare initiatives at Stanford. She serves on the board of the Ayala Foundation USA, driving programs focused on education, leadership, and community development. And alongside Dado, she co-founded the Philippine Development Foundation, known as PhilDev, which has become a beacon for aspiring Filipino innovators around the world. Maria understood something profound about wealth. Money alone doesn't change the world. Systems do, institutions do, and so she helped build institutions that would outlast any individual fortune, creating pipelines that would lift generation after generation of Filipino students into careers they never thought possible. When asked about their philosophy, Maria explained that they knew the Philippines needed investment in education and technology to advance. That understanding drove every decision they made together. But in recent years, Maria faced a challenge that no amount of money could solve. Dado, the brilliant engineer whose mind had revolutionized personal computing, developed a neurological disorder that slowly robbed him of his memories. In 2025, Maria spoke candidly about what this meant for their family. "It's tough," she admitted. "Here's this brilliant guy who now can't remember much. So now, we just try to live day by day. We hold on to the moments of clarity, the small joys and the comfort of family." On December 25, 2025, Dado Banatao passed away at Stanford Medical Center, surrounded by the people he loved most. He was 79 years old. The family released a statement saying they were mourning his loss, but took comfort from the time spent with him during the Christmas season, and that his fight with this disease was over. Maria's response to this tragedy has been to push forward with even greater determination. She spoke at the PH Time Is Now 2024 summit at the Banatao Institute alongside her children Ray and Tala, demonstrating that the family's commitment to community would not waver. She reflected on their accomplishments with characteristic humility, saying it was humbling to hear people acknowledge what they had achieved. Dado, she noted, had a huge impact on the industry. Even Jensen Huang of NVIDIA once publicly credited him as an inspiration. That acknowledgement from the CEO of one of the world's most valuable technology companies speaks to Dado's lasting influence. But for Maria, the mission was never about recognition, it was about transformation. And she continues that work today. At number 4 is the Banatao heir who embodies everything his parents hoped the next generation would become. Ray Banatao is a UC Berkeley graduate, a serial entrepreneur, a World Economic Forum Young Global Leader, and currently a director at one of the most secretive and ambitious organizations in technology. He leads the Moonshot for Circularity at X, the Moonshot Factory, which is Alphabet's innovation laboratory formerly known as Google X. His mission is nothing less than transforming how the entire world uses and reuses materials. Ray's technical credentials are staggering. He's a materials scientist who has co-founded and scaled multiple companies focused on bio-based and chemically recyclable polymers. His innovations have been commercialized across industries, including sporting goods, the built environment, and renewable energy. Most remarkably, he created the materials for the world's first recyclable wind turbine blade, solving a problem that had plagued the renewable energy industry for decades. Wind blades are massive structures, sometimes exceeding 100 meters in length and weighing 30 to 40 tons. For 75 years, the plastic resins in these composites were never designed for recyclability. Ray and his team at Conra Technologies invented a new type of plastic molecule and a new chemical recycling process that finally made recycling possible. The World Economic Forum recognized this achievement by naming Ray a young global leader in 2013, placing him among the most influential young innovators on the planet. But what connects Ray to Oakland goes beyond his UC Berkeley degree. He serves on the advisory board of RICHEST and the Banatao Institute, ensuring his family's vision continues to shape the research emerging from that institution. He's also an industry advisor to the Department of Energy's Advanced Biofuels and Bioproducts Development Unit at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, one of the premier research facilities in the East Bay. His work with Berkeley Lab researchers has pushed the boundaries of what's possible in plastics upcycling and biomanufacturing. Ray served as a Google for Startups Accelerator mentor for the first Circular Economy program at Google, and he sits on the scientific advisory board for the Bio P2P network. At the PH Time Is Now 2024 Summit, Ray offered a personal account of his family's journey, including his father's groundbreaking work in Silicon Valley. Those who attended were moved by his presentation. Aaron Orsino, a design program manager at Meta, remarked that it was impressive to see such high-caliber Filipinos who are really making a difference. For everybody to come together and so generously give to the community, he said, was something that really astounded him. The Banatao story, celebrated through the lens of family and education, underscores the role of gaining and sharing knowledge and lifting communities. Ray represents proof that the values Dado and Maria instilled in their children took root. The next generation isn't just inheriting wealth, they're building on the legacy. Entering the top 3, we go back to where it all began, to an origin story so improbable, it sounds like fiction. Entering the top 3, we return to where everything began, to an origin story so improbable that it sounds like fiction. But every word of it is true. Diosdado Pamitan Banatao was born on May 23, 1946, in Barrio Malabac, a remote village in Iguig, Cagayan Province, in the northern Philippines. His father, Salvador, was a rice farmer. His mother, Rosita, was a housekeeper. The family lived in a nipa hut, a traditional bamboo dwelling with no electricity and no running water. They had nothing by any material measure. But Salvador Banatao possessed something more valuable than money. He possessed an unshakable belief that education was the only path out of poverty. And so, young Dado walked barefoot on dirt roads to reach Malabac Elementary School because his family could not afford shoes. He worked as a sacristan, an altar server at the local parish, earning small amounts to pay for school supplies. His brilliance emerged early. He graduated at the top of his class, earning a spot at Ateneo de Tuguegarao, a Jesuit boarding high school far from his village. It was his first time away from home, his first glimpse of a world beyond the rice paddies. He continued to excel, eventually enrolling at Mapua Institute of Technology in Manila, where he graduated cum laude with a degree in electrical engineering. Unable to find stimulating engineering work in the Philippines, Dado pursued a different dream. He became a trainee pilot for Philippine Airlines. But fate intervened when Boeing recruited him to come to Seattle as a design engineer for their revolutionary new aircraft, the 747. While working at Boeing, Dado took continuing education courses at the University of Washington, where through mutual friends, he met a young Filipina named Maria Cariaga, who was pursuing her master's degree in educational psychology. She would become his partner in everything. In 1970, Dado was accepted into Stanford University's graduate program, and Maria followed him to California. They married in 1972, the same year he completed his master's in electrical engineering and computer science. At Stanford, Dado joined the Homebrew Computer Club, a gathering of tinkerers and dreamers who met in garages to imagine what computers might become. Among the members were 2 young men named Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, who would go on to found Apple. Dado was there at the beginning of the personal computer revolution, and he would help make it possible. The barefoot boy from Cagayan Valley had arrived in the heart of Silicon Valley. He would never look back. Our runner-up spot belongs to the organization that represents Dado Banatao's ultimate mission, the Philippine Development Foundation, known as PhilDev. Co-founded by Dado and Maria and officially established in 2011, PhilDev was spun off from the Ayala Foundation's program with a singular purpose: to harness science and technology to fuel economic growth in the Philippines. The foundation operates from offices in both Palo Alto, California, and Pasig City in the Philippines, bridging two nations through education and innovation. PhilDev's scholarship programs have supported countless Filipino students pursuing degrees in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But the foundation went further, introducing technopreneurship curricula into Philippine universities to teach entrepreneurship alongside technical skills. They sent Filipino professors to train at UC Berkeley, building institutional knowledge that would ripple through generations of students. The AIM Dado Banatao Incubator, created in partnership with the Asian Institute of Management, supports Filipino startups at the critical early stages. And the Dado and Maria Banatao Institute for High-Impact Research, funded entirely by the family, now stands at the University of the Philippines College of Engineering in Diliman, advancing research across the archipelago. The recognition for this work has been extraordinary. Forbes Asia named Dado one of the region's 40 most noteworthy givers, noting his long record of supporting worthy causes. He received the Ellis Island Medal of Honor, awarded to exemplary American citizens who have made outstanding contributions to their communities. The Philippine government named him the country's first special envoy of science and technology. His face appeared on Philippine Living Legends postal stamps, honoring Filipinos who made major contributions in their fields. Maria continues to lead PhilDev forward, ensuring that the foundation remains a beacon for aspiring Filipino innovators even after Dado's passing. And now for the number one spot. This is not about a single contribution. This is about the totality of how one family wove themselves into the fabric of Oakland and the East Bay, creating a legacy that will shape generations of Filipino Americans for decades to come. The Banatao family's Oakland footprint is unprecedented. Their name adorns Citrus and the Banatao Institute at UC Berkeley, just 2.5 miles from downtown Oakland, a research powerhouse that has launched over 70 startup ventures. Their foundation funds the Oakland Eco Block, transforming an East Oakland neighborhood into a model for climate resilience. Their scholarship fund explicitly prioritizes Oakland students, providing up to $20,000 to pursue engineering and science careers. Ray Banatao advises Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, connecting the family to cutting-edge East Bay research. All 3 Banatao children graduated from UC Berkeley. Consider the scale of wealth involved: an estimated $5 billion fortune. $927 million in Marvel Technology stock alone. A $20 million mansion in Atherton. Private aircraft. This family could have done anything with their money. They could have disappeared into unimaginable luxury. They could have forgotten where they came from. Instead, they chose Oakland. They chose to rebuild neighborhoods. They chose to fund scholarships. They chose to name research institutes and support working-class families installing solar panels. Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, publicly credited Dado as an inspiration. But the true measure of the Banatao legacy is not in the admiration of billionaires. It is in the Oakland students who receive scholarships they never thought possible. It is in the East Oakland families breathing cleaner air. It is in the Filipino-American engineers who saw someone who looked like them at the pinnacle of technology and believed they could get there too. The barefoot farm boy who walked miles to school without shoes made certain that the next generation would never face the same barriers. That is why they are the richest Filipino family in Oakland, not because of the money, because of what they did with it. And there you have it, the 10 most incredible ways the Banatao family has shaped Oakland and changed the world. From the Oakland eco-block transforming East Oakland neighborhoods, to the billion-dollar empire built from inventions inside every computer, to the scholarship fund that gives Oakland students priority, to the UC Berkeley Research Institute that bears their name, to the incredible next generation carrying the torch forward. This is a family that started with absolutely nothing. A barefoot farm boy walking miles to school on dirt roads in one of the poorest regions of the Philippines. A father who believed education was the only way out. A mother who gave everything for her children's futures. And that barefoot boy grew up to invent the technology inside every personal computer on Earth. He built companies that sold for hundreds of millions, then billions of dollars. He accumulated an estimated $5 billion fortune that made him one of the richest Filipinos who ever lived. But here's what makes the Banatao story different from every other billionaire story you've ever heard. He gave it back. Not just to foundations in faraway places, not just to causes that would never touch his community. He gave it back to Oakland, to the East Bay, to Filipino-American students who reminded him of himself. Young people with dreams and determination, but not the resources. The Research Institute at UC Berkeley bears his name. The Oakland Eco-Block operates under his foundation. The Scholarship Fund gives Oakland students preference. His son advises Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory. All 3 of his children graduated from UC Berkeley. This is a family that could have done anything with their fortune. They could have bought islands. They could have disappeared into luxury. They could have forgotten where they came from. Instead, they chose Oakland. They chose to transform neighborhoods, to fund scholarships, to build research centers, to create pathways that didn't exist before. That's why they're the richest Filipino family in Oakland, not just because of the money, but because of what they did with it. If this story inspired you, let us know in the comments which part of the Banatao legacy impressed you most. Was it the Oakland Eco-Block? The Scholarship Fund? The incredible Rags to Riches origin story? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of extraordinary Filipino achievement. And share this with someone who needs to hear that a barefoot farm boy from the Philippines can change the world. The Banatao legacy is just getting started.